Well, welcome back from that very nice and wonderful musical break. Now, a couple of days ago, we had some quite sad news that came in from our neighbors in Nairobi, Kenya, where we saw the attack of the terrorists, and actually it counted lives. That up till today, I think around 21 people are confirmed dead and others are still nursing injuries. This isn't the first in its own kind. We have had a couple of these happen. Back here in Uganda, we have had the same, remember, at Chadondo Rugby Ground. I think it was the World Cup match of 2010. Is it? Yeah, we also had in Kavalagala. And we have had a couple of threats over time. We must say we thank God it does not come to us again. And also we pray and ask him that it never happens again on this beautiful land. But also we do feel solace and feel our hearts throughout our hearts, the people of Nairobi, both Kenya, the families that have lost their people. Now with me today in studio, we shall be looking at terrorism. I wouldn't say with the experts, but at least I know they have quite diverse and useful knowledge in that area of security, in an area of how to take guard against terrorism. And we are joined on set by Mr. Kambura. He's also a peace ambassador. He has worked closely with particular security agencies in and out of Uganda, and he will share a couple of tips about this and that and how to go about different things. Now, you're welcome, Mr. Kambura.
Oh, thank you. And
Yes.
thank you for hosting us and
Sure.
talking to our country. Hope each one of us will take something home,
Okay.
strengthening our peace and security in the country.
Okay. Now, Robert, of course, I've been with Robert since morning, and we've been looking at a couple of issues. Now, we'll go directly into a topical issue. Now, one of the first questions is that just to help and assist our viewers, and this I'll ask Mr. Kambura, what is terrorism and what form does it take? Because every time something happens against our people, the government comes out to say, those are terrorists. That is terrorism. What is terrorism and who is a terrorist?
Thank you, my brother. First and foremost, I reach our condolences to the people of the Republic of Kenya who lost their loved ones during the terror attack on River Road. This is not the first time. These terrorists have really taken Kenya into hostage. And so, as I said to several of the people that I work with and the communities, that if Kenya is not safe, Uganda is not safe. According to the current intelligence report, indicates that the countries in the Great Lakes region, in the Horn of Africa, will continue being threatened by these terrorists, the Boko Haram, the Al-Qaeda, and now we have a new form of terrorism, internal terrorism, colleagues, even now in our communities. So we pray to God that he protects us, because it starts with God. But in that way, I also call upon all Ugandans to be conscious of their security. To answer your question, my brother, terrorism is any act of violence that is intended to frighten people in a community so that those bad people negotiate for political or economic goals. These people are international or local or regional, and they have intentions to actually frustrate peace and stability and growth of our nations. And these are not your brothers, as you think. These are not friends. And so they are coming to kill us, to terminate us, to assassinate our leaders, to challenge our government, to actually frustrate tourism. So as a person who has worked in the Middle East for several years, I was the first platoon commander who led Ugandan security experts to work along with the United States government, along, of course, with other coalition forces to work in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was able to win an international security award. I think for purposes, it will be very important that people get to know whether
and also see it.
These are genuine people. The United States government was able to actually recognize our efforts, and this is very important. Where have I put it?
In the pocket.
Maybe in the pocket. In the pocket? I don't know. Yes, it's here. I was able to get recognized by this award. I'm the only person who has this important award.
I think if we can have a close-up of that.
In this region, this part of the world. And this is important. I was able to also operate in all these bases. Afghanistan, many bases in Iraq, from Baghdad to Al-Assad, to Talil, to Combat Support Center. I was working along these Americans, and we would go to the communities and to other parts of Middle East.
So you've dealt with these extremists.
Basically, I know what it means, the bombardments that they cause into a nation. But to answer the other question you asked, basically about the types of terrorism activities. Basically, there are quite many. One is bombings. They come, of course, bombing to cause fear. You know, they come with all these types of bombs. Some of them are improvised bombs, which are made at home, very sophisticated. Then they put in this building, maybe in a market, and they kill people. The other one is hostage taking. Definitely, this has been also in our country. Hostage taking. So they come, get you off, and your families will never see you again. Of course, arson. They will come and burn a building. Basically, sometimes they can even come with a plane and pass into your community and burn the whole community, the whole constituency. So there are quite so many, but cyber security now is also threatened by, there is also another type, cyber threat. The cyber terrorism is also key now today. Now that we have artificial intelligence, we have technology coming in, you find they use technology to hack into government installations, like Bank of Uganda, like Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Gender. They hack all your computers, and they use also viruses, the whole country. And what are they looking for? Information, to steal your money on your bank accounts, and to destroy your security as a nation. So it's also another type of then also armed attack and assassinations. Some of these people who have been killing our people should be also categorized as terrorists. Someone comes and kills a member of parliament. We have lost one of our members of parliament in the country. Another time we lost our police officer. We are still losing. So these people are also terrorists. They kill innocent people. To terrorize families, to terrorize communities. And they don't have, you may even not know why they are doing that. But at the end of the day, they will come to a television and say, we did it. We have killed your minister. We have killed your president. Basically, they are looking for international recognition. But that's also another type. But also, these days, we have weapons of mass destruction. You realize the G5, the big countries, the one they call the G5, the big ones, who are mandated to have these big weapons, the nuclear bombs and continental ballistic missiles, etc., etc. They are saying, you know, countries like North Korea cannot have these MWDs because of their small economy. They may be tempted to actually detonate such an equipment that can threaten world peace and security. So you find President Saddam Hussein, they were saying he had all these weapons of mass destruction. So it is one of the ways. These are some of the types of terrorism, but particularly for our small countries like Uganda, I also want to tell the country that there is also another type of terrorism coming up in our communities, whereby a man terrorizes his wife from morning up to evening, from Monday to Monday, year to year, terrorizing the children. You don't want to take care of your children, you're a terrorist. That is how we have to define terrorism, because of the fact that you have a responsibility, like these people who are failing government programs, you know, without any reason. Like there is a man in my community there who has simply told KCCA, me, I want 20 billions. If you don't give me these 20 billions, I will not even allow you to make this road. The whole community is suffering because of one man who just unfairly asking even unrealistic amounts of money because he sees maybe KCC has money, and he has failed the whole project. You can imagine. So in the 21st century, we classify such a people as terrorists. You a friend, someone doesn't even forgive. He can even spend even 20 years. He doesn't want to forgive.
Okay.
He's just keeping anger forever and ever. When he meets you, he passes in the other road.
So we see terrorism coming closer to our communities.
In our community, people who don't forgive are also terrorists.
Now, Kambra, I would want to ask...
that water down the actual meaning of the terrorism kind you want to look at?
Actually, no. But I would want to look at something now different. After having taken us through the different types, one would ask, and I'll ask still, Kambra, maybe Robert will also come in later. Or perhaps I'll start with Robert. Why do these people do these things? Now, Mr. Kambra has said that sometimes there's even no reason. But ideally, we have seen threats come to Uganda, to Burundi, to Kenya, because of our contribution in the AMISOM. But at the face of it, it would look like that. But then one would ask, why do terrorists do these things? As a person who has worked closely or around these kind of setups, and Robert as a journalist who has reported with police for quite a long time.
Wow, that's great.
What do you think, in your opinion, what would be the motive of these people who terrorize other people?
I want to first begin by looking at the biggest threat that we look at globally as terrorism. You know, where we look at the Al-Qaeda, we look at the Al-Shabaab, and then also with the little influence we bring in the ADF as well as being an ally to majority. They are major. You know, you can't disrelate terrorism to Islamist extremists. You know, because even right from all these countries, we find that one, when I was trying to understand their origin, is the extremists, not all Muslims, but I want to use the word extremists, that disguise under religion to front their desires. For example, in Somalia, and he will tell you that one, you find that these Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaeda, have a vision that they feel it is their rule, it is their governance, basing on their teachings that they could be extremists that they want to front. So in that effort to push for that, then they have other groups that also join. They could have the same cause, but also want political power as well. So their main reason, that is why even they find it very easy. Their main will that they use is religion. Because if you get a suicide bomber or read on their websites, there have been previous suicide bombers that maybe have been shot and killed, information is there on the internet. You see that, you see this person pretending to be very holy, very committed to a particular reason. And for them, in their indoctrination, they'll feel that I'm dying, but I'm going to something better. You know, someone will come out and deceive, play with the minds of these people. That is why they even get them when they are very young. Some of them are trained when they are very young. And they'll believe, I want to quote the Al-Shabaab statement when Kenya happened. They said, our holy fighters are currently carrying out an operation in Kenya. Holy fighters. So it has a connection with the faith, but however, that could not be the teaching of that particular faith.
Okay.
So they try to front out, you look at them as Sharia rule, let's have a Sharia
so one of the
rule.
intention is to catalyze what they believe to be religion.
What they believe to be religion.
Okay, now I'll come to Mr. Kambura here.
Yeah.
In your experience.
With the experience that I've had for several years, I think it's beyond religion. They're only using using religion as an item to just confuse people. But you remember when Nigeria was announced to be the biggest economy in, in Africa, you remember? Any rising nation in Africa or around the world, for example, also in Kenya, around 6 years ago, before it became a big economy as we see it. So terrorists, basically, one of the reasons why they come to terrorize your nation is to discourage tourism, the economy, to discourage foreign investment. You know, the fact that, for example, Uganda or in Somalia, they will come to revenge, for example, because the United States partnered with us to strengthen peace and security in Somalia, and now we are repelling them out. And the UPDF has done a very good job, because for us we are trained.
What could be their motive in Somalia? Away from us going for them to hit back in form of revenge.
Yes.
What could be the motive of the terrorists in Somalia as one of, because globally Somalia is one of their very vivid bases?
That place has been historically, you realize, it has been a causive of a base for training. Basically, these Al-Shabaabs have what we call continental bases, whereby they have installed their networks, local networks. So Somalia is one of the countries which has been helping them to build international training, network, local network, because the local people even inside Somalia have been actually working with them globally. You know, they are networked all over the world, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in the UK. So Somalia is one of a country which has its neutral training positions, whereby they have invested for many years in local capacity building. So in the villages, in those mountains, you know, in those valleys, they have hidden installations. So we have to fight hard to make sure we remove them. When we remove them, it means they will have lost one of their global training capacity building sites. So that is one of the key areas.
Okay.
And so when we repel them, it means on the continent or in the part of the region, they will have now to take many years to look for another place to replace Somalia, which may not be possible. Then they will have only to concentrate on Afghanistan and those mountains. So on the continent, it's a breeding ground. In Nigeria, we are fighting them very hard. So they cannot survive in Nigeria. So you find they have to do everything possible. And they have traders, they have financiers, they have all of these, they are networked even in the entire region. But contributing to the answers you have just given, why their intent is also to create fear, as I said. They want to create fear. Two, they want also to get international media recognition. Because it is an international kind of network, everything they do, they want to say, we are still alive. Even when you killed bin Laden, we have a new leader. Look what we did in Nairobi. Look, so they look for soft grounds to make sure they show America, you know, that's their biggest threat. We are coming for you. We have beaten your ally, Kenya. We are going to UK. They want to revenge. And as you said, basically religious indoctrination, radicalization, extremism. They are to the extreme. It's like you eat too much food. You know, eating too much food, one meal, like, you have to mix katogo with, you know, proteins, vitamins. But if you like your religion so much that you don't want the others to also have the freedom, the right to also share with you, to live with you, but you want to see everyone a Muslim, then you see the others. But for me, I believe, as Islam means peace, I feel these terrorists are not even true Muslims. But the problem is these Islamic religious top leaders must come out, you know, and say these are not part of us.
But you see also,
you know,
now for them coming out is something maybe they're also worried. And you have seen most of them, yes, most of them have been also killed, you know, though that also now brings question. Now having looked at their intention, I want us to, sometimes...
But we have not finished.
Okay.
Sometimes these people, they come in to actually weaken and expose government. You realize every rising government, there will be challenges. Now like Uganda, I fear that because people are not united towards a common vision, as last time we shared, you realize everyone is pulling on the right, on the left, so there will be those times when terrorists will use, a divided family. It is easy, an enemy to just come in the middle, So they want to come challenge the government that you see your government has no capacity to provide peace and security for you. What they speak is not what they do. And they want to frustrate decision making. If a law in the parliament, for example, is very sensitive and could threaten their survival, they will come and blast the parliament, they will kill some people to divert, they will oppose such a law that is coming. Sometimes they will use the times when we are going into elections, for example, because they don't maybe like you. Then that is a very sensitive time. So some of these, but of course even to overthrow government. You remember what was in Libya, colleagues? You remember?
Even an attempt in Nigeria.
Even Nigeria. Look at Egypt, what was happening. All those terrorists, even you remember the Brotherhood something in Egypt.
Even in Uganda, you have the ADF.
The ADF.
The ADF.
They were in my district.
It is a group very connected to Al-Shabaab, which is also in Somalia.
Ask, where do they get this uniform? Like our UPDF gets a uniform today, tomorrow they also have it. Today our UPDF will get new AK-47, maybe M4 rifles, they also have it. So who is funding them? So politics, the financiers in the economy, the international partners, our enemies, they are all colluding towards challenging government, exposing government, overthrowing government. So in terms of some of these reasons, you find that there is also a possibility of wanting also to free their prisoners. You remember in the United States, they take over a member of parliament or a minister or a building, say, we want so and so to be released from this prison. We want him now. And it happened in Baghdad. In Baghdad, we had I was in a victory camp after taking home a victory camp. We had arrested one of their key planners. And we had to use a lot of energy, a lot of technology. The airspace was, but we had to release the guy because our commander was equally killed. So these are dangerous people, very dangerous. And you have to be conscious. And Uganda, as I said, according to the intelligence report, if we don't increase our budget actually on security, we have to increase on our welfare of our security, on our capacity building,
actually,
because terrorists are targeting Uganda.
Actually, we were coming to that exact point where we wanted to look at, having known all this, how do we curb terrorism? One of the most common practices in Uganda is we lack hands-on practices. We have many a times looked at things very loosely. For example, when you look at checking points, you look at our police officers, the training they get, the way they handle issues, the way they interact with people, the way they respond to situations. In fact, I was very happy when I saw Kenyan, the response was quite good. The intelligence, what do we do? How do we curb terrorism?
First and foremost, brother, I'm very happy that today we are talking about something that is very unique for everyone. And as we share, what should we do? Combating terrorism in Uganda, in the region. But we must look at two dimensions. We must look at a vision. Last time I shared about the power of a vision. I want to tell Ugandans that let us, in our hearts, say, Ugandans united against terrorism. That's where it began. In this country, when we had the bomb blast at Chadondo rugby pitch, you remember, Yes, the president of Uganda plus the NRM people with the ministers, you know, who were crying. But I did not see political leaders, political party leaders coming to join the president and say, beyond this politics of ours, we are united against terrorism. Let us be a family. The moment we sometimes politicize, we just look at which I'm 7 in a government only criticizing. Terrorism is, when terrorists come, they have come for all of you. They don't say, sijui manya nini, uyo nini, which tribe, they, all of you. They have come to kill all of you. And they don't know who's who. Even I have evidence recently in Kenya when terrorists took these young the teachers. They put them in the bus. They killed the Christians. Then the Muslims said, no, why are you killing our colleagues? They also killed them. So they don't mind, even if you're a Muslim. Some people think Muslims are not killed. So what should we do now? On this national television, today as we begin the year, 2019, we must say Ugandans are united against terrorism. It is beyond religious, whatever that, it is the Catholics. It is for NRM only. It is time of SCJ and his group, Wanika and his group, now they are united as DP, whatever that is development. We want to see Museveni sitting down as political party leaders, discussing a framework to have a joint strategy as political parties, jointly, to make sure they stand together on one podium and say this is our Uganda, no matter these political differences, we are united against terrorists. The moment terrorists see this on a national television like this, they will not come because they know Uganda will not help us survive. Their survival will not be there. And their survival is based on a local network. When they know that political parties are united against terrorism, religious leaders, all of them, the Muslims, the Christians, the Baha'i faith, the Krishnas are united against terrorism, they will say we cannot survive in that country. That is the beginning point. It is not just buying these sophisticated weapons and visible security. It is beyond that. It goes beyond having visible security, and they call them what? The police, our police, which
the
counter-terrorism unit. It is beyond having a very huge number. No, it is ideology. The moment a country is having a very good and upward, forward-looking ideological orientation against terrorism, these people will never come to your country. But if they find a divided country, they will say, how to kuyingira.
Now, Mr. Kambra, also, I remember there's an issue of, and one of the biggest, I remember what happened at Chadondo. People were able to take inside whatever they used to make these bombs and was planted. Same thing in Kabalagala. And this caused worry. And I think after the aftermath was that government asked and pronounced that people should have good checking methods. How do you check someone?
Yes.
Why do you check them that way?
Exactly.
What are you looking for?
Yes.
What are the forms that these bombs, for that matter, oblasts can take?
Yes.
You know, if it can be a pen, it can be in a phone, it can be and all these things. And of course, we shall give an opportunity, having worked with security, understand, as you said earlier, you have this knowledge, maybe as briefly. I don't know if we can have a wide shot for just a simple exercise. Yes, a simple demonstration, I think, with Robert.
Yes.
On how, if there are any security agencies watching, how they can watch, how someone should be taken through the drill.
The first thing, I don't know if, because today is an opportunity. You find in some of our buildings, even government, even at the airport, everywhere, you find we need capacity building of our security personnel. The way they search us, the way they guard the installations, the way they patrol, the way they communicate to us. Let me maybe demonstrate, because it's very critical for our viewers.
Briefly, because you're running out of time.
In a second, so that people know that it is very critical. For example, if I am the security guard on this building, and I must be able to be on alert with my weapon. Alert. Not some people just, they're walking with their guns like this, that kind of nonsense. But a security person should be, alert. And he's saying everything. He's interpreting everything. Now, look at this exercise. Maybe you can stand up and assume you were the visitor.
Okay.
But I must make sure before you reach me, because the moment you come near me, my security, you take over my security. They don't know that sometimes. So I must be able to say, please stop there, sir. What's your name, sir? You greet like in our Ugandan. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You see, public relations is very critical. The moment I greet the visitor, because it is a part of a security, that you should, even if you have a gun, but you should make sure someone is comfortable. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you.
Oh, you're welcome to our installation, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I am sorry that one of our policies in this installation, sir, is that everyone entering into the building is searched. Please, do you mind if I search you, sir?
If I'm a true Ugandan, and I have authority, excuse me.
You see, even the Ugandans will even throw this. But then, because I have been courteous to you, you will know I'm serious. And the way I am handling, of course, you have registered, you have put your ID, you have registered there, I have seen your ID, and that is the photo. I will now say, yeah. Then I say, please stop. Can you turn around, sir?
So
now,
what is the purpose of turning around?
Do you know you first stand behind? Ugandans, our security personnel, do you know what they do? The gun is here. He will be searching like this, even the head. Can you imagine? You can even take over this man's gun, and that's what is happening out there. But in real security, I must make sure I search you. You turn around, because I must make sure you do not have any opportunity of overpowering me. I must take over your energy, your physical intelligence, your mind, everything, so that I know I must be able to touch everything. So I would say, please, do you mind turning around, please?
I obey.
Exactly. And your hands open, please, like this. Are you seeing? That's how we used to do it. The moment he does, remember, he has put everything there. He has registered. I've seen his national ID, and I have observed that the photo on the national ID is this man. Everything there, the phone, everything. Everything. Then what I will do, I will start searching the man. And how do we search? We divide the human being into 4 parts, like this. I don't know. If we are two, and maybe I have a pistol, that's fine. But if I have my gun, I will make sure I put this leg here. Are you seeing? Why? Why do I put the leg here? In case this man wants to do anything, I just throw him out to blow with his bone. And it is quick. So what I do, I put this gun on this side, then I search. I must make sure, because this can hold a detonator. So I must make sure it is. Then I search. I search. I search. Then that's fine. I change my gun on this side. I change this leg. I search. I search. And the eyes, and you don't just bend in someone's cabin and like this. You must make sure the whole body is what? Is okay. Then turn around, sir. Then again. And remember, this is the leg. Then please open your hands again. Because some things are here. Some things are here. Then if he's putting on a cap, remove the cap. The cap is already there. I must know. Then I search the man. And remember, it's here. Just slowly, Even if it means touching this, because sometimes they hide into their things this side. Then I change my gun again. Then I search. Then I search. Then I search. Even if it means removing his shoes. If I see a wire or something, I must make sure I search him thoroughly. Then after, I say, thank you so much, sir. Please get back your things. Then, and you're not alone. You have also another colleague there. This time, have you ever seen this
Who's
guy?
overwatching?
Someone is taking a tea, another one is on call, calling his girlfriend, hello. And terrorists enter. They enter with everything. And then I must be courteous. Thank you so much, sir. Please, you're welcome. Come back again and visit our building, our businesses, sir. You're welcome. Already up. A call has gone up. Another call. A call has gone up. That, do you expect so and so? Yes or no? Is he on appointment? Yes or no? Then, sir, you're welcome. But we don't, that is how searching is done.
Okay.
Patrolling must be clear, but we seem to be lacking
No,
these things.
he actually,
What's going on?
most of our security
I think
agencies
one
are a
of the
joke.
problems we are finding here in Uganda is people need to appreciate why such is being done.
Yeah, exactly.
Because one of the things you understand that in many buildings, actually the VIPs, the top people, do not appreciate. In many buildings, recently I saw one of our media where one of the journalists that we used to cover CPS with about 10 years ago enters CPS and he's not checked. But in my opinion, was like, why has he even made it a story?
Exactly.
Because what used to happen, the people that were regular at CPS, the journalists, reached a point that they don't need to check you. When you go to a government installation, we expect in our minds, we think a terrorist must be a foreigner. Maybe someone with a big beard, a Somali or something like that. So we are not thinking that among us can be terrorists.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I would enter any building where I'm known, because people think I can't do harm to my colleagues. Yet these terrorists will even use one of us amidst us to do a terror activity once and forever. So we need to appreciate this. A police officer would want to do what, Milton, you've done.
Yeah.
But maybe an MD...
No. But Robert, that's not right. And actually, we shall not do it. But we see you do your job, period. But I'll give Akabra maybe a minute to conclude because we have run out of the time.
Let me conclude on how to counter terrorism.
Yes, just quickly, please.
Very quickly. The Secretary General in 2014, by then, he said, no policy to fight terrorism can succeed without addressing conditions promoting its spread. There are those conditions that actually accelerate terrorism in the country. And so we have to deal with the financing areas. Who is financing terrorism? In this country, there are some people who actually, they have a lot of billions of money, but we don't know where they get this money. And so some of these NGOs, some of these partners, some of these, they have a lot of resources that they don't have capacity to absorb it in projects. And so they end up being tempted to actually finance anti-government, anti-security, and some of these activities. That is one. Patriotism. One of the ways to also combat terrorism is by enhancing people to love their country. By, of course, guided by shared vision, shared values, shared principles, some of those kind. Then, what is important? Increasing on investment into security. I expect that this national budget coming in July, we must increase on the national budget into UPDF, into police, so that these men and women are motivated. Capacity building training on, like, for example, this, to actually on our borders, motivating our workers, so that there is enough evidences and networks to bring in information. Arrests are effected, courts of law are handling all these kind of things.
Okay.
But also, the other important one, which is very key,
lastly,
is the interfaith peace building. We must replace the terror narrative with a peace building message by breaking barriers of identity-based conflict. For example, religious extremism. By recognizing that no matter our religious differences, our political differences, etc., all humankind is one family under God.
Right.
So if you kill your friend, you have killed your own brother. If you kill a Christian, you have equally killed your brother, because we are all men and women, children of Adam and Eve. Okay. That is very, very key. But also parenting. This is very important. You realize when we go back home, brother, parents these days don't even go around to check, did I live this year? My children, where are my children? The mothers don't, on one against out. Ugandans need to increase on their vigilance to make sure there is, we have partnership with the police. Have you seen something just thrown there back? Please report it. Vigilance. Vigilance is very important.
All right. Yes. Now, at least you have had a mouthful of security issues in relation to terrorism. Now, we must say it is alive and it stays with us. Please let us be each other's watch. Now, we must say we regret that these things happen in our neighboring countries, but also we are not immune. Let us take charge and let us be each other's keeper. And that has brought us to the end of this particular discussion. I will take a break. When we come back, we shall be looking at the budget and the policies therein. Good morning.
50% bonus on data.
You mean if I buy 1 GB of data daily using Airtel Money, I get 500 MBs free?
Yes! 50% bonus on data recharges of Airtel Money.
Switch to Airtel Money to buy a data bundle and get 50% bonus back instantly.
Yes, 50% bonus back, valid till midnight of the validity period.
Dial *185*2# to get started. Airtel Money. Simple, instant, secure. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Prostate cancer is the cancer that occurs in the prostate, a small walnut-shaped gland in men that produces the seminal fluid that nourishes and transports sperm. It is one of the commonest types of cancer among men, especially those aged 40 years and above. Statistics from the Uganda Cancer Institute show that 40 of 1,000 men develop prostate cancer every year, and only 46% of these survive at the end of 5 years. Many men across the country lose their lives because they pay very little attention to the cancer. The disease is on the rise, and usually people discover it when it is in its last stage. Signs and symptoms of prostate cancer: blood in semen, bone pain that doesn't go away or leads to fractures, painful ejaculation, excessive urination in the night, urge to urinate, and leaking or weak urinary steam, difficulty starting and maintaining a steady stream of urine, swelling in the legs or pelvic area, numbness or pain in the hips, legs, or feet. When you experience a slow flow of urine, pain in ejaculations, blood in either urine or semen, and sudden desire to urinate, visit a hospital for a checkup. It does not cause a decrease in sexual libido. It is the treatment that causes loss of interest in sex. If you ever had a close family member, most probably a father, brother, or uncle who has ever suffered from cancer before, your chances of getting the disease are high. Prostate cancer is a silent killer and can only be cured when detected early. Do not wait to first fall sick and go to the health facility.
Now, good morning once again, and welcome back to this particular segment of GMU Agenda. Now, we'll be looking at budget and strategy, at least for 2019-2020. Now, in studio with me, I have our guest is Magara Sirajeruima. So you're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
A budget policy specialist, a civil society budget advocacy group. You're very much welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Presenter.
Yes.
Good morning, our viewers.
Okay. Now we'll be looking at a couple of issues that have taken toll pre the budgetary session. Now, when you look at a couple of things that the Ministry of Finance has outlined, at least 5 focus areas for the government, for the government's budget to estimate budget estimates for the 2019-2020 financial year, and of course, when you look at them vis-a-vis each other, you realize that there are a couple of issues that one would raise. And when you look at the first one that speaks of a focus on realigning our strategic intervention to address current challenges to achieve the desired socio-economic outcomes and harness growth opportunities. Now, one would say the ministry in itself has not contributed so much by far. What has been the contribution of, for example, when you look at, and I'll start with your civil societies and these NGOs, into this budgetary process? Do you have a contribution? Are you given room to?
Yeah, thank you so much, the presenter. Thank you, viewers. I think, in the first place, I would like to be very grateful to government.
Okay.
Because I think increasingly we have seen civil society getting space trying to bring voices of the people into the budget. You know, the issues to do with the budget, at times when officers are in their boardroom, they have their own needs. Maybe the AC is wearing out, maybe the cars are not in good condition, and that's what preoccupies their mind. And quite often, you will find that the voices of the people, the taxpayers, is normally left behind. It does not get the priority. And as civil society, we work towards bringing the voice of a person who is deep in the village, who has gone to a health center and cannot access a Panadol, and who is going to die and is buried of lacking just chloroquine to cure malaria, and that voice ends up failing to reach in the boardroom. So we are happy that government finally has allowed us some space, especially Ministry of Finance, where we can always participate, try to bring out those real voices to make sure that, yes, we want to buy airline, we want to buy this, but there is someone who is really failing to get medicine from the hospital. So I think I must say I'm very grateful on that line. Because
maybe, Sidaje, one would want to know, since government opened up this, because it is another thing opening up and contributing, and your voices of the voiceless being put in the budget, like the last, 2017, 2018, or 2018, 2019, these budgets, have you seen your contributions included or factored in the budget as civil society organization?
Yes, I must say yes and no. Yes, in most cases, we make a contribution, and government sometimes takes many of them, but others sometimes they may not take. Sometimes I don't know whether they actually read and internalize some of the proposals we make, but I must say at least government is increasingly responding to our concerns, and they are somehow putting some of the issues in the budget.
Okay.
And for this budget now, because the budget process commenced, immediately when the new budget cycle ends, another one starts. So we are almost in the middle, and I think the National Budget Framework paper was relayed in Parliament by the Minister of Finance. Those are the initial proposals, because they went on consulting people, the formulation started. Now the National Budget Framework paper, which contains the initial proposals of government, were relayed in Parliament by the Minister of Finance, and Parliament is trying to make responses on what the Minister relayed to them. And we are now trying to also make a contribution. As the budget stands, does it make sense to a common person?
Okay.
That's what we are interested in.
Now looking at the second aspect, you're talking about promoting human capital development to provide skilled and healthy labor force. With your experience, perhaps as civil society, one then would ask, when you look at the aspect of human capital, I don't know the arguments you've had as civil society in relation to budgetary allocations, but human capital, does the budgeting process previously, of course, accommodate growth of human capital?
I'm going to look at human capital mainly on two fronts.
That's okay.
One, I'm going to talk about the education, because you need to skill the people with the employable skills, with the requisite skills. The second one is health. So when I look at those two, I think we are not doing very well. And considering the proposals for this year, this is the only year where we are seeing a cut in the health budget. Aware that every year that comes in, the population is increasing. Then as civil society, we are wondering the mathematics, how the population and the needs of people are increasing, and then the budget is cut. So in terms of human capital, we see that we really are not doing well. We still find lots of, when we are, for us, we are grassroots oriented. You go to those villages, those health center threes, they are congested to the brim, and you find that there is really not enough medicine.
Actually,
so to get news of budget cut, then
on
it means
health
we are
sector.
preparing for the worst.
Because I would imagine that in relation to the convention that Uganda had ratified or signed, for that matter, I think that is a Addis Ababa convention about the required states to allocate 15% of their budgets.
Yeah, the health sector budget now is around 8.9. Yeah, it has actually fallen from 9.2 to 8.9. So
okay.
Contrary to the declaration.
And they had said
Sorry?
that.
Contrary to the
Yes,
declaration.
yeah,
definitely.
contrary to the declaration,
And
contrary even to the needs, even alone the
Of
declaration.
course, yes. Even
If the needs were not that much, then we'd say, okay, we can pass with it. But the fact that the welfare of people, the health of people is still at stake, then we can't afford to have a slap because it has been cut by close to 31 billion.
Okay.
And we are losing out on many things.
Now, let us take a very short break. When we come back, we shall look at the rest of the two. And I would want to interest you, Mr. Ruima, particularly when you look at borrowing as an aspect vis-a-vis the budget. Let us take a break.
Thank you.
Amanya gange nze Dumba Yusufu Nyanzi mbeera Kakiri pangudde akakadde k'ensimbi mu kazanyo akabeera miliyoniya ne Airtel Money nkozesa star 185 ash nga nsindika ssente nga ngula data era mbasaba muwangule ku kazanyo kano akabeera miliyoniya ku Airtel Money.
Omuwanguzi bajja kukubira essimu nga bakozesa noti 752 mukaga noti 222 amateeka n'obukwakulizo bigobererwa.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
All right, welcome back. Now we're looking at the budget. And of course, when you have Mr. Magara here from the civil society. And our issue is, as the process is undertaking a position, of course, we're trying to find out what comes out as right and what doesn't come out to be for the people. Earlier on, he was talking about the two aspects, education and medical care or health care, which have over time not been prioritized. But just a shift from that, I would want to a comment from Mr. Magara in relation to the enormous borrowing. In my opinion, it is threatening.
I think you are right. Presenter, you are right. One, the reason why we borrow, we normally don't have enough revenue to satisfy our needs, and that is understandable. And countries world over borrow. But for Uganda's case, I think the issue of sustainability is what we need to talk about. And again, is the value for money from these borrowed funds. What do we do exactly with the money? Because we are getting a lot of money. The debt levels are actually worrying. The trends are not all that good. If we are at around 41% debt to GDP ratio, and it is still going, and the threshold, you know, it is 50, recommended. So the rate at which we are moving is really, we are fast tracking the debt threshold, which in my opinion is not also good, because sustainability issues will not arise, will reset in. But we are looking at what do we borrow to do, and the value. Aware that much of our borrowing normally goes to infrastructure projects. Building of the dams, and now the energy sector. Actually, energy sector, almost 80% of the money invested in energy is borrowed. So the issue is, are we getting value from this borrowed, the borrowed money that we shall be able to pay back? Because you know the research has shown that for every $1 we borrow, we only get 0.7. Less than 1, that is around 0.7.
So the borrowing is not making profits?
Yes, we are not making profits. And that means with the issue of sustainability, we cannot be able to pay back very well. And for me, I normally tie it to the human resource issue. We are borrowing to put a lot of electricity. What are people using electricity for? Are people incapacitated to make sure that they utilize this electricity and we do production? Or people are only listening to music, they are charging their phones, and they are merrymaking. They are not knowing that, yes, This is money that has been borrowed, and therefore we need to do. Is there any government strategy to make sure, yes, we are putting this infrastructure?
When you look at priority number one, does it not include focusing where we see socio-economic outcomes and enhance growth opportunities?
Yes, that's easier said. But where are the strategies? What are we doing?
That is
exactly. How are we funding? How are we funding it? You and me know that at least people are not doing enough production.
Definitely.
The power is there.
Mr. Gwama, my worry comes when you look at our budget. We have key sectors, like you've talked of health. It is we committed ourselves to make at least 15, but we are 8 something in this proposal. But then our debt portion of the national budget to pay debts is 12%. You know, how do the two tarry? You have debts that even the rate at which you're allocating the money to pay the debt is far more than very important sectors on the budget.
Yeah, the truth is our revenue, domestic revenue, is still doing very badly. We have not put in strategies, but largely it's because the quality of the population to do the production is not enhanced. Because if people are not there to produce and you increase government revenue, then it will affect the collections. And now that collections are minimal and then you need services come, that's why you go for a debt. That's why for us we think that going forward there should be a deliberate strategy for human resource to make sure that you improve people and they are able to produce for you. And this business of thinking that we need to rely on foreigners and we hope they will be the ones to investors to do the magic bullet, I think it also lacks some sustainability.
Okay. Now I'm going to give Mr. Siraj about 2 minutes to give us a wrap-up of how you see this whole aspect before we can conclude, because we are running out of our time, but at least 2 minutes.
First things first, I think we are grateful as civil society and to really be given an opportunity to participate in these budget processes. And we hope that we have made presentation. We are now doing presentations to Parliament, trying to show the gaps that are in the budget that need to be addressed in all sectors. And because we don't have limited time. But what I have to tell you is that as civil society, we go to the people, get the voice, and get alternatives. We don't just criticize for the sake of criticizing. We want to show government, yes, you are trying to do this, but check this. It is a better alternative, and it works for the people. Because for us, we are interested in getting things working for the citizens. Because the moment citizens are supported, they are given the priority, then everything moves on. Issues to do with enhancing revenue, issues to do with the increasing, touching the key sectors that really manage, that help in improving the economy, I think is part of the priority when we are making presentations to Parliament about the budget. Yes.
Okay. Now, of course, the process is underway. We expect to see a couple of things be given priority.
Yes.
Now, we hope and pray that things like aspects or sectors like health, security, take the top, because without these two, you realize the state may be in shambles. Now, we can't, it's unfortunate, we have run out of our time, but we will have more time to discuss this matter before it comes to life. We shall have more engagements with the state players, individuals, and of course, the civil society groups. Now, we must say thank you so much for watching, and we have come to the end of this particular segment of our GMU agenda. We will take a break. When we come back, we get our quote of the day, and later Ruben will come in with sports. Good morning.